Hi, welcome to Story Time with Mayor Glenn Johnson of the City of Pullman, Washington. Our Neill Public Library is closed down right now, so we have some books that we're going to share with you. And you can catch a number of different episodes right here at Neill Public Library. Now, before we do everything, as we know during this COVID-19 problem we have, we've got to wash our hands, okay? Or if you don't have soap and water with you, you got hand sanitizers. So we're going to make sure that our hands are nice in the front and the back and everything is nice and clean. And when you do wash your hands with soap and water, remember you're going to sing happy birthday twice, right? 20 seconds worth. And wash your hands front and back really carefully, because we don't want you to get sick. Here's a story about poor Louie. Oh, hello. You're probably wondering what I'm doing here in the dark by myself with all this stuff. If you guessed that I tried to run away tonight, you'd be right. I did. Why? Well, it's a long story. I can tell if you like. My name is Louie, by the way. Or it was. Now they just call me Poor Louie. My life was great. Every morning started with a walk, rain or shine. There they are. On Sundays, we would do fun things like go for a stroll in the park. Look at all the different places they went. They started here and they went out there. Eat ice cream or go shopping. Pretty much every day of the week ended the same way. Dinner. Look at Louie sitting at the table. A movie. A kiss goodnight. And then off we went to sleep. Once in a while, Mom and I would have a play date with her friends. It was great. Everybody paid attention to me. But then, one day, they started to appear. First there was just one, and then two, and then four. They pulled on my ears, they squeezed my tummy. Mom! Poor Louie. Yeah, I know. They smell good. And they do walk on all fours, and I give them that. But geesh, all I could say was, thank goodness we'd never have one of those in our house. Yep, life was pretty perfect with just the three of us. Then let me tell you, things got weird. First it was dinner, cold, on the floor. Poor Louie. I still had my walks, I guess, sort of. Now, look at all these names here. Packard, Pablo, Packard, Patrick, Paul, Peabody, Percival, Peter, Peyton. Bedtime wasn't fun at all anymore. Over time, Mom's belly grew and grew and grew until one night, it kicked me. Boom! From that night on, I slept on the floor. Just me and my food dish. Things couldn't possibly get worse, right? Wrong. One day, Mom and Dad came home with lots of new stuff. At first, it seemed okay. There were 2 beds, fun. 2 hiking pouches, good, I can have one of those, can't have enough. 2 sweaters, cute. 2 hats, okay, but wait a minute, I thought. What's that thing? 2 seats. And that's when it hit me. Poor Louie. 2 kids, what do you think? One of those creatures I could handle, but 2, no way. And then Mom and Dad just rushed off and left me all alone, not even a kiss goodbye. Well, that was the last straw. I got all of my things together and ran away forever. The coast was clear. There goes Louie. I was on my way when, Louie, now, how'd you get out? I must have left the door open. Your Mom and Dad will be home soon. Back you go. There's Louie going back in the house. And that's it. The end. My life's over. You can close the book now. Thanks for listening. Though we won't. Lou. And there's Louie over there. Louie, meet your baby brother. My baby brother? My baby brother! Poor Louie. Now there's a long title. One word, chrysanthemum. The day she was born was the happiest day in her parents' lives. She's perfect, said her mother. Absolutely, said her father. And she was. She was absolutely perfect. There she is. Her name must be everything she is, said her mother. Her name must be absolutely perfect, said her father. And it was. Chrysanthemum. Her parents named her Chrysanthemum. Chrysanthemum grew and grew and grew, and when she was old enough to appreciate it, Chrysanthemum loved her name. You see her grow all there? She loved the way it sounded when her mother woke her up. She loved the way it sounded when her father called her for dinner. And she loved the way it sounded when she whispered it to herself in the bathroom mirror. Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum. Chrysanthemum loved the way her name looked when she was written with ink on an envelope. She loved the way it looked when it was written with icing on her birthday cake. And she loved the way it looked when she wrote it herself with her fat orange crayon. Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum. Chrysanthemum thought her name was absolutely perfect. And then she started school. On the first day, Chrysanthemum wore her sunniest dress and her brightest smile. She ran all the way. Hooray, said Chrysanthemum, school! But when Mrs. Chudd took roll, everyone giggled upon hearing Chrysanthemum's name. Look at all the people there. There's Mrs. Chudd, and there's Dawn, and Eve, and Lois, and Al, and Les, and Kay, and Max, all short names. And then there's Chrysanthemum. It's so long, said Joe. It scarcely fits on your name tag, said Rita, pointing. I'm named after my grandmother, said Victoria. You're named after a flower. Chrysanthemum wilted. She did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She thought it was absolutely dreadful. The rest of the day was not much better. During nap time, Victoria raised her hand and informed Mrs. Chudd that Chrysanthemum's name was spelled with 13 letters. That's exactly half as many letters as there are in the entire alphabet, Victoria explained. Thank you for sharing that with us, Victoria said. Mrs. Chudd, now put your heads down. If I had a name like yours, I would change it, Victoria said. As the students lined up to go home, I wish I could, thought Chrysanthemum miserably. Welcome home, said her mother. Welcome home, said her father. School is no place for me, said the Chrysanthemum. My name is too long. It scarcely fits on my name tag, and I'm named after a flower. Oh, said her mother, your name is beautiful, and precious and priceless and fascinating and winsome, said her father. It's everything you are, said her mother. Absolutely perfect, said her father. Chrysanthemum felt much better after her favorite dinner, macaroni and cheese with ketchup, and an evening filled with hugs and kisses and parcheesi. That night, Chrysanthemum dreamed that her name was Jane. It was an extremely pleasant dream. The next morning, Chrysanthemum wore her most comfortable jumper. She walked to school as slowly as she could. She dragged her feet in the dirt. Chrysanthemum, 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 she wrote. She even looked like a flower, said Victoria, as Chrysanthemum entered the playground. Let's pick her, said Rita, pointing. Let's smell her, said Joe. Chrysanthemum wilted. She did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She thought it was absolutely dreadful. The rest of the day was not much better. During nap time, Victoria raised her hand and said, "A chrysanthemum is a flower. It lives in a garden with worms and other dirty things." "Thank you for sharing that with us, Victoria," said Mrs. Chudd. "Now put your head down." "I cannot believe your name," Victoria said as the students lined up to go home. "Neither can I thought," Chrysanthemum said miserably. "Welcome home," said her mother. "Welcome home," said her father. "School is no place for me," said Chrysanthemum. "They said I even look like a flower. They pretended to pick me and smell me." "Oh, fish," said her mother. "They're just jealous, envious, and begrudging, and discontented, and jaundiced," said her father. "Who wouldn't be jealous of a name like yours?" said her mother. "After all, it's absolutely perfect," said her father. Chrysanthemum felt a trifle better after her favorite dessert, chocolate cake with buttercream frosting, and another evening filled with hugs and kisses and parcheesi. That night, Chrysanthemum dreamed that she really was a chrysanthemum. She sprouted leaves and petals. Victoria picked her and plucked the leaves and the petals one by one until there was nothing left but a scrawny stem. It was the worst nightmare of Chrysanthemum's life. Chrysanthemum wore her outfit with 7 pockets the next morning. She loaded the pockets with the most prized possessions and her good luck charms. Chrysanthemum took the longest route possible to school. She stopped and stared at each and every flower. "Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum," the flowers seemed to say. Look at all her pockets there. That morning, the students were introduced to Mrs. Twinkle, her music teacher. Her voice was like something out of a dream, as everything else about her. The students were speechless. They thought Mrs. Twinkle was an indescribable wonder. They went out of their way to make a nice impression. Mrs. Twinkle led the students in scales, and then she assigned roles for the class musical. Victoria was chosen as the dainty fairy queen. Rita was chosen as the spiffy butterfly princess. Joe was chosen as the all-important pixie messenger, and Chrysanthemum was chosen as a daisy. "Chrysanthemum's daisy. Chrysanthemum's a daisy," Joe, Rita, and Victoria chanted, thinking it was wildly funny. Chrysanthemum wilted. She did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She thought it was absolutely dreadful. "What's so humorous?" asked Mrs. Twinkle. "Chrysanthemum," was the answer. "Her name's so long," said Joe. "It scarcely fits on her name tag," said Rita, pointing. "I'm named after my grandmother," said Victoria. "She's named after a flower." "My name is long," said Mrs. Twinkle. "It is," said Joe. "My name would scarcely fit on a name tag," said Mrs. Twinkle. "It would," said Rita, pointing. "And," said Mrs. Twinkle, "I'm named after a flower, too." "You are?" said Victoria. "Yes," said Mrs. Twinkle. "My name is Delphinium. Delphinium Twinkle. And if my baby is a girl, I'm considering Chrysanthemum as a name. I think it's absolutely perfect." Chrysanthemum could scarcely believe her ears. She blushed, she beamed, she bloomed. Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum. Joe, Rita, Victoria looked at Chrysanthemum longingly. "Call me Marigold," said Joe. "I'm a carnation," said Rita, pointing. "My name is Lily of the Valley," said Victoria. Chrysanthemum did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She knew it. And here's the epilogue. Overall, the class musical was a huge success. Chrysanthemum was absolutely perfect as a daisy. Victoria made the only mistake. She completely forgot her lines as the dainty fairy queen. Chrysanthemum thought it was wildly funny, and she giggled throughout the entire dance of the flowers. Eventually, Mrs. Twinkle gave birth to a healthy baby girl, and of course, she named her Chrysanthemum. Thank you for joining us for episode 6. We sure hope that you enjoyed our books that we read today. They all came from Neill Public Library right here in Pullman, Washington. And if you have any requests that you would like us to read, we'll be more than happy to do that during the time when they're closed down because of this coronavirus. Okay? Thanks again for joining us. If you have any questions, let us know too. We'll see you next time.